Peace.
Peace.
This is Joshua Miller Law, Mr. PhD. You're just now entering the cipher called real2reel360. KYs.
Peace, God.
Bring that beat in, kid.
Indeed.
Peace.
Yeah. What's going on, party people? Welcome to the real2reel360 show. Let's get it in.
Peace.
Peace.
This is Joshua Miller Law, Mr. PhD. You're just now entering
Peace to
the
all our followers,
cipher
likers, and subscribers.
called
For those who are
real2reel360.
right now, you are
KYs.
with
Peace,
Real
God.
to
Bring
Real
that beat in.
360. Today we have a great episode that's coming about right now. This is kind of near and dear to my heart because of the individuals that we're bringing on. It's more than just the guests, their family, and they're bringing something to the community as a resource that a lot of times we need. For those who don't understand, Real to Real 360 itself is a diverse podcast where we deal with individuals and we educate individuals in the community and bring the resources to them. So today we will have Mr. Greg West and Carol Copeland coming in with Real to Real 360 with Healing Communities Thru Media. Get them in here. Let me get them in here.
Hey, what's up?
Let's go. What's going on, Cuzzo?
I appreciate you having us, man. Appreciate you having us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Man, I tell you, it's beautiful to have you and the sister with us today. Gonna bring Miss Carol in. Pardon the delay. A lot of times my co-host, he does all the bringing everybody in and doing everything else. So we kind of, you know what I'm saying, one arm. And shout out to my DJ K Wise, my co-host, my brother. And thank you all for coming in. Now, can y'all give opportunity to introduce yourselves to our followers, likers, and subscribers? Everybody who is watching, make sure you share.
Real quick, like you said, family first. You know what I'm saying? That's my cousin, and that's one thing I appreciate him having us on here. But my name is Greg West. I'm the CEO and director and founder of a nonprofit organization named Felons with a Future, where we work with restored and returning citizens and show them the importance of coming home and working on their thinking as they become business owners, so that we could take off that one excuse that some of them like to say, well, I can't ever get a job because I have a felony. If you start your own business, you know what I'm saying, you own your own boss, so no longer can you have that excuse. But we have different other facets that we do. You know, that's our main thing. But we do a lot of prevention in the community, where we work with different children's organizations or youth organizations, showing them is a better way of living life than getting caught up in the streets like I did at a young age because of the traumas that we had at home and all of that. So we work with that a lot. You know, working on those traumas. And I mean, there's a lot I could go on, but I mean, I don't want to hog up the show just introducing myself.
Oh man. Say something else, Greg.
Yeah, well, you know, and my friend, I was going to say my friend Carol, that she got in touch with me about a project that she wanted to do as far as like working on trauma with the people that I work with, and that's how we hooked up with my cousin. I sent him the link, and Job brought us together to talk about that. You know.
Okay, here right.
Okay.
All right, Carol, how you doing today?
I'm amazing. The little tech challenge, but amazing. I lost the screen for a second.
No
Um,
problem.
so I don't know if y'all could see me while I was searching. I
Yeah.
couldn't.
No,
Y'all
we
could
can
see
see.
me and I couldn't
Yeah,
see y'all.
everything was fine.
Okay, cool. Uh, my name is Carol Copeland, and I am the founder and CEO of a new program organization called Recovery Media. I'm a filmmaker uh, uh, by a profession now, and I believe heavily in the power of storytelling. You know, storytelling can change lives, and there's some people's lives that's really important to me to try to change. Some that are dear to my heart. Uh, and that is what we do in recovery media. We have a target demographic of, well, what we do is help people kind of heal trauma through storytelling. We provide them a safe space for the medium of storytelling. Um, and they also learn a valuable skill of filmmaking. They also learn.
That's beautiful that you're able to help individuals get through their traumas and be able to express themselves, because one thing about us as a people, we don't always have a positive way to express ourselves. Want to
Exactly.
shout out Deidre Richardson and our dumb big sis Kim for checking in. Peace, how y'all doing? But that's a great opportunity for individuals to express themselves and to do something positive, because we know what the negative side can end up on. So
Exactly.
what year did you start wanting to work on this type of a program?
Um, well, wanting to work on it many years. Actually incorporated in 2017, and was I was in DC, and actually my now late husband and I were. He was also a brilliant filmmaker, to grow, and I came up with this name and title for the organization, Recovery Media. And we at that time we were going to. The vision was the same, but we were looking for it to be in a place. So we were looking for storefronts. So we were going to teach film production in this one location in DC to members of the demographic that we wanted, people with, um, what they call at-risk youth or underserved communities, returning citizens, victim survivors of domestic violence, recovering addicts, in and out of treatment. And so that's where we had started in founding the organization. So it technically was founded then by myself and my now unfortunately late husband, Bro.
That's great. Now, Greg, with Felons with a Future, how did you come into contact with this organization, and what prompts you to start with Felons with a Future?
Well, real backdrop on Felons with a Future. 2008, I was incarcerated for for trying to stimulate the economy. and so I was sitting in while I was sitting in prison, and everything. I came up with the concept of like what would help people like me to stop coming back to places like this, because prior to the show, we were talking about, I'm just not getting comfortable being comfortable with our family, who we are and everything like that. Because, I would look at the successes of everybody in our family, and at home, we didn't have all of that. So I got involved with the streets. But while I was incarcerated is when I really started doing the work on my inner self. You know what I'm saying? As you brothers talk about, study of self. But I started doing the inner work, and I said, how can I stay out of places like this? And I came up with the concept of, Felons with a Future, because most of the people that I ran with who were ever incarcerated, we were business owners and didn't even know it. You know, if you're hustling in the streets, whether it's selling DVDs, selling crack, selling dope, or whatever, you're running a business.
Yep.
So I came up with that concept of maybe if we teach them how to become business owners, it might give us an outlet and everything. But then as I started doing the work on myself, I started seeing how deep the trauma ran in me. Because I didn't just wake up one morning and say, I'm going to go sell dope. There were some traumas that led me to that. So that's where we came up with, like, well, we'll work on the different levels of trauma. And so I put that all in the business plan. The trauma that led us to the streets, the trauma that we went through in the streets, the trauma while we're incarcerated or going through the penal system. Because everybody that we work with have, even if they don't have felonies, they've been involved with the penal system somehow or another. Father, mother, cousins, they've been exposed to it, and that's traumatic. Not knowing if your family member is going to get shipped away or not. You know what I'm saying? And then like the ones who have been incarcerated, the trauma that we go through when we come home. So we came up with that concept, and then I wrote this business plan and sat it down. So the business plan was put together in 2010, and then when COVID hit and I had nothing to do, I put it in action, and we've been growing since then.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful because, like you said, that we share similar traumas going through, and with Miss Copeland, the traumas. What are some of the traumas that you have videoed and spoke with individuals that prompt you to say, "Well, I'm gonna start helping these people heal"? Miss Copeland.
You said what made me.
Yeah. What were some of the things that you saw that prompt you to want to do recovery media and healing the community through media? Like, what was the conversations that you had, the things that you actually saw and said, I'm gonna use this as an expression?
Okay, I I think I don't know with my fan. It seemed like went a little low, but I believe you said prompted me to want to work with this specific population. Did I hear that?
Yes. What prompts you to for you to work with this specific population? Like, what was a story or something that you actually seen to make you want to work with these people?
I am a survivor of all. I am all of these people. I have been. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I've been in jail a, a lot. I am a recovering person, so I'm a recovering addict, and so addiction treatment been there a lot. Been homeless, and I think did that cover them all? Jail, domestic violence, addiction, homelessness. Yes, that's what it was. I live the powerful, transformative value of storytelling in my own life. So
Hey,
I share that.
that's Peace, my co-host, my big bro. He's on here, K Wise. Shout out to him. Wish you could be here, brother. Now, with all these things that you have seen, how does the media help with the healing process to work with these people?
Okay, so media is a big, big term, but in the way we are using it, media is a form of communication that can be video, television, or film, um, web series. Not, I just want to I want to differentiate that from media as we generally use it outside of the industry. Because I think if I first heard that, I might have thought the way we generally, when we say media, we're talking news.
Hmm.
So I want to differentiate because I don't think they help. So that's why I want to make sure.
Right.
We're talking about that media. We're talking about the media. I don't think they help at all. The mainstream, anyway. But that's a whole nother story. So, in terms of the storytelling, let me say the storytelling, the opportunity to tell stories and how that can change lives, and how it does. I think it's effective in terms of personal growth and healing when you have uh, you feel that your voice is being heard. So
Mhm.
your voice can be your personal story. It could be your imagination, your creativity. It could be a combination. It could be something that's important to you, like a sport or a cause that's important to you. But when you have a theme that you want to get heard, your voice, and you have an opportunity where this is where the storytelling opportunity comes in at when you can get your voice out and get it out on the screen, the process of telling the story is therapeutic, and then seeing it on the screen and helping it change other lives is therapeutic.
Now, is there a place where individuals can actually watch the web series and docu series that you are doing now?
Oh, we haven't done it yet.
Okay. Okay.
So once,
Well,
so let me tell you how our
I was going to say, well, I think he's asking about the stuff that you've already produced, the ones that
Yeah.
are on Amazon and stuff like that.
Right.
oh,
Right.
my personal film projects that I've done.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. I have several films on Tubi and Amazon Prime. One is called Sinners Wanted. One is called Flint Tale, that I shot in. That Flint Tale is a film I produced, a feature I produced in 2018, 19. It's a narrative. It's not a documentary, but it's based on the water crisis in Flint. But it's a narrative about a story and a family and some of the things that might have happened in that area that we shot in Flint and Detroit. That's on both Amazon and Tubi. Flint Tale. Uh, Sinners Wanted is a faith-based film I shot in my hometown of Washington, D.C. in
Okay.
2017. Um, it's a beautiful story about God's unconditional love. And then there is Sasha Lanes is on Primetime and Tubi. We shot that in 2015, 2017. There's a couple more I can't think. Oh, Another Love Story. And that's streaming on like 6 different platforms. But it's called Another Love Story. That's a story of it's a feature based in a true, unfortunately, story of domestic violence. Another film I produced. Cherry Lemonade is streaming on YouTube. So yeah, I have several titles. But I gave you the big ones right
Yes,
now.
ma'am. Now, with both organizations,
Oh, let me tell you one more. This is important. I want everybody to look out for this. My newest I've got 2 features being released this year. Black Skin, #Black Skin. That's a film we shot, and it deals with the story of the aftermath of the murder of Philando Castile in Minneapolis. We shot that in Minneapolis and St. Paul. We shot it the summer after George Floyd's murder. So we have scenes from it, what I call the saddest place on earth at that time, outside that cup was where he died. But we shot that there in Minneapolis, and that will be released later this fall. We'll have a screening. And so look out for Black Skin. It's my newest film I produced. And also You Married Dat, DAT. It's a feature film we shot last summer, a hilarious comedy starring Jahan Jones, who he does a lot of on YouTube, Instagram comedy skits, and he had a comedy skit called You Hitting Dat, DAT. And it was so popular over 2 seasons, he raised money to shoot a feature film, and we shot it, and it's hilarious. So look out for that. You Married Dat. I produced both
you
of those.
married that. Wow. But
First he was hitting that for 2 years, and now
he turned around and married that. Now, with both your organizations, what compelled you to honestly want to go back to the community and help those in the community? Because a lot of times, as when we reach a certain pinnacle, a lot of times people don't go back or want to highlight some of the things that they've been through and reach back for the ones that's still there. So, what compelled you, Greg, and what compelled you, Kyle?
Well,
Greg, go first.
here we go. For me, it was almost like a no brainer because see, like I said, when I was locked up, I was able to sit down and really slow down and think about some things and look at how my life had turned out. So when I got back out here, it was like I say, a no brainer. Like I know, because we come out of the first generation of crack dealers. Crack. We had to deal with that stuff, man, where it tore our communities up and everything like that. And being a teenager when I got into the game at 13, 14 years old, it didn't make any sense to me that I was really doing what I was doing. But as I got older and matured, I seen that the damage it did, and I believe in like the law of reciprocity and everything like that. So I believe that I helped create this monster and this and destruction that we talk so bad about. It was only right for me to go back into that same community and start trying to do the healing. But one thing I've learned is like, and we talk about this a lot. I can't go out there and heal people where I'm not yet healed. you know and I know it's an ongoing process. I'm not all the way healed with everything that I've gone through, because I'm finding out how deep some of this stuff goes. You know what I'm saying? When I unravel with one thing, it's something else that's connected, and I mean it's like ugly. You know what I'm saying? But I keep on doing it. But like it was no brainer. I talked to I choose to still stay in the community. I could easily move to the suburbs and everything like that. But I believe that it's important for little Johnny down the street to see somebody looking like us, successful, coming out and going to work, where he doesn't have to think that the only way he can make it out of that environment, or he has to leave that environment. You know what I'm saying? And the only way he can be successful is shooting ball, playing football, rapping, or something like that. Or even selling dope. Well, so it was a no-brainer for me to come back into that environment because, like I said, I tore that stuff up. It's time for me to come back and help heal.
Definitely, Miss Carol. Right now we got two questions in the
Question.
Do you have a platform? Do you have a platform, open platform for people who would like to volunteer their time to speak at domestic violence seminars or help out in different ways, Miss Carol?
Oh, absolutely. That would be amazing. So I would say, are we going to give our contact information?
Yes, you can. You can definitely give your contact information and let them reach out to you,
Okay.
and we can work that out. Also, too, Greg, how hard has it been to go back into the community as a different individual from the streets to now being an ambassador and to enlighten the youth of today?
That's funny, man, because like me and it's more comfortable now. Because like at first I thought I had to go back in the street, go back into the community and live off my past street cred. But
Right.
what I come to understand is like these a lot of these young cats that we're trying to reach, my street cred don't mean nothing to them because I'm the old head that they don't know.
Right.
Hmm.
And like at first the challenge was getting out of my own fears in my own head. But now like it was funny, like I'm glad he asked that. I have so many different stories I could talk about that because I also teach the trade. You know what I'm saying? I also teach trades to people, get them into involved with union trades and stuff like that. And like I get these young black men and women into our trades, and one, they come in with the street bravado. They gotta have that bravado on, like can't let nobody pass this, this hysteria and all that. And I get to talking with some of them, and I remember one of them came back and was like, "Hey, yo, Mr. West, I apologize, man. My mama knows you, and you was the truth out there when you was." And
Right.
so, like, and that helps it out. But like the one thing that helps me the most is that I don't go back and trying to fake like I'm somebody that I'm not. So the real, like getting back to his question, how hard it was getting out of my head. Was getting out of my head thinking that I had to be somebody that I didn't have to be. Just being authentic has been able to take me farther than, what I'm saying, thinking I had to, show my street cred, talk about how many bricks I flipped and none, nah, they don't care about that. If they showing up in our spaces, like in our classes and everything like that, a lot of them are ready to start making a transformation. So, it was the hardest part was getting out of my own way with my thinking.
Definitely. Now, Miss Carol, someone wants to know on the YouTube part, could you drop those movies in the chat so they can find those movies? Because
Oh,
I think you have this YouTube link that while it's going on right now because we're streaming live through YouTube as well. Um,
so
now,
do I write here where it says chat with everyone in the studio? Is that what that
yes,
is?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now, now, Greg, like being the fact, how hard was it to rehabilitate yourself and not have the temptations to go back? Because like I know, it's easy to take that step to go right back to what we were comfortable with. I'll
Right.
say that much. How hard is it to readjust your lifestyle and to go on the path that you've been going since you've been home?
Well, today it's a lot different than it was early on because like where I'm at today in my life is I'm more comfortable where I'm at where I wouldn't want to go back. Early on, it was kind of hard, because see, like especially like I was talking with a brother today because I'll talk about that later, another adventure that we're getting into, but like early on, I remember when I first the real thing was I was still spending money like I was in the streets, but I wasn't getting money like I was in the streets. And I
Right.
remember the first time I found out that I was broke, I ran out of shoebox money. And I had to readjust and learn how to live because like I had a bank account. I would put money in the bank account and spend that on my bills, but I'm spending the shoebox money. And one day I go to the shoebox and it's empty,
Uh-huh.
and that was traumatic. And that was early on, and I thought about calling the connect and everything because I mean like with stuff like that. But today where I'm at, early on it was that allure of the money. That's when I found out that what I'm saying, I was addicted to the lifestyle. I couldn't really fathom that I was an addict. You know what I'm saying? But then I found out that I'm addicted to the lifestyle. I'm addicted to the chase. I'm addicted to the money. I'm addicted to all of that stuff. So like what I was able to do was like, I was able to see that, I had to start really doing some inner work and working on myself. So today it ain't as bad as it was. A person could walk up to me and try to drop some work on me right now. I'm running. I'm running.
Trust
Yeah.
me, I understand. But with everything being said, like how hard or how have you maneuvered working with the felons and helping them transition into a better lifestyle?
It's fun watching the ones who come in and how they come in and then by the end of the 12-week session, and because a lot of we still got to wrap around, a lot of them still work, and watching how they go from where they was to seeing who they becoming,
Hmm.
where they like I said, by the time we get to the end of the 12 weeks, the ones who are still there are the ones who really want to change.
Hmm.
And watching the transformation go from coming in like I gotta be this type of person to somebody starting to let their guard down.
Hmm.
So it's not really that hard because that it's just like everything else. They shift themselves out. The ones who ain't.
Uh-huh.
What happened?
I have no idea what just happened here.
Okay, I don't know. It might have been my reception, but
Cause you there?
yeah, I'm.
Can I,
Hello?
while he's moving, can I ask you a question though, Joe?
Yes, ma'am.
So you see the gentleman on the YouTube question where it says, "Can you William Raymond?"
Yes, ma'am. I just dropped it in the I thought I just dropped it in the chat.
I don't know, but I'm asking if so. I wrote an answer over here. You see where I wrote the answer? Chat with everyone.
Um
Does that
no
go to him at
n-
YouTube?
no ma'am. What it is I think I know he just got it, but I copied and pasted and put it into
Oh, you
the
did.
chat.
Thank
Yes, ma'am. I
you.
did.
Okay.
Sorry about the what happened? I don't
I
seems
think
like
it
you
might
had
be my
got out of here
reception.
for a second.
I think it might be my reception.
Let
AT
me
and
know.
T. Yeah, and plus,
I don't know what's going
my,
on here.
my
This
mind say that when we get to talking real reform and
hold
trying to
on
help.
one second, cuz now Miss Carol, with your organization, is it easy to go back into DC and work with the people in DC?
Yeah, I love working with people in DC because that's my home.
Now, what part of DC, if you don't mind me asking, southeast, northeast, uptown,
Uptown,
uh,
uptown,
uptown,
uptown.
Sursa Quarters?
No, and we don't actually call that uptown, by the way.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah, some of them do. You know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah.
but
No, well, you're right. You're right. We got the bougie uptown. So
right.
like I'm eighth and Crittenden.
Okay, okay. Now, with going uptown DC, what was the experiences that you experienced when you were there? And
When I shot. Sinners Wanted there.
in your lifestyle that you was recovering from. So individuals understand that this is not just a fly by night. This is something that you have actually put that work in because you have honestly experienced some of these things that you are filming, and you're doing it because these are some experiences that help you with your trauma.
Well, honestly, so DC has changed so much. I smoked a lot of crack in DC, where now white people walk their dogs at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they wouldn't have been there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the daytime when I was there. So it's a whole new DC. And when I went back to shoot, it was not the DC that I grew up in. But I mean, of course, I already knew that. Not that I hadn't been there, but the experiences, of course, there's still areas, right? And we went into some of those because in the film that we shot there in DC, Sinners Wanted, the storyline is based on a pastor falling in love with a prostitute, a heroin addict who's also a prostitute, based on a biblical story of and how God loved her unconditionally. But it was a lot of dope, uh, uh, people selling, people using. Um, so we filmed in the real, make it as realistic as possible. And so there were some places I had been in a different life.
Now, I understand that at one point in time, DC was and still is hold the moniker of Chocolate City.
Chocolate
Uh,
City till we die.
Regardless of the regentrification that's been going on, it still is the place. Uh, Currently, I'm in the DMV area myself.
Oh,
So
you
I,
are.
yes,
That's a new
ma'am.
term. They came up with DMV after I left, but I know what you mean.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely that. And work for the District of Columbia currently.
Do you?
So, oh yes, ma'am. But and watching and like my cousin said, growing up in an area and in a time period where we were in the community doing certain things, and to some point we owe the community that we grew up in
Mhm.
because the things that we see, that's the things that are going on with the children that we see, uh, indirectly we are the cause and effect of what went on there.
Mhm.
When people don't realize if you stood on those corners, whether you was fighting, selling drugs, robbing, stealing, whatever the case, whatever your occupation was in the streets, you owe that community. So when we start seeing these kids doing things and we sitting there talking about they this, they this, they this, a lot of times we have to accept the responsibilities
Right,
ourselves
right.
for the things that we've done because we've seen women that was pregnant that was doing drugs, and a lot of us was supplying them with the drugs.
Right.
And we know that there's a cause and effect, whether it's male or female, on your semen, on the eggs, and all these other different things when you reproduce on drugs and the effect that it has on the children. So we can't expect them to understand certain aspects because of the drugs and stuff that was inside the body. And also, too, as being a drug dealer, my cousin said something that was impactful how addicted or addictive that lifestyle is.
A hundred
That's
percent.
not that you're doing the drugs, but just being out there, the rush, the what I mean, the police chases, the dice games, whatever's going on outside, and you being involved, it becomes an addictive habit. So, want to say salute to you about that being able to uh, overcome that situation. But with the filmmaking, and felons with the future, how do y'all mesh that together?
Well, it was funny, man. I've known Carol for a couple years, and she had sent me an email earlier this year. And I was like, I'm gonna open it, but I get on the weekends, you know me because I'm always traveling on the weekends, doing one of my for-profit businesses and everything. And so I seen the email. I never opened it. and I lost my mind. It slipped my mind. So she hit me up about a month ago. Said, "Hey, have you looked at my email?" I said, "Well, let me do it now while I'm on the phone with you. That way, I wouldn't lose my track." And I opened it up, and when I said, "Oh, this is right up the alley." And like what people don't, one thing that I do is, like I said, I help anybody who set up their businesses and everything. And we our 501(c) has been up and running. And she was like, I told her, I said, this would be perfect to work together. So we went straight into action. One thing I don't believe in is if we have a meeting, when we leave that meeting, there should be some action behind it. I don't want to just keep meeting, and no action. So I went ahead and like I told her, while we work on getting her 501(c)(3) set up, and we can just mesh ours together. I went ahead and registered out in California. That way we can do what we need to do to help her, get the funding and everything that we need to do to get up and running. And we just started making things happen. So she had already started doing some footwork, and I'll let her tell you where else that she's up and where she's going to be operating at. But on this end here, I got in touch with the powers that be and said we're going to put on a presentation where we're going to be flying her out here in a couple weeks so that we can meet with the city commissioners, county commissioners, ODCR. For the ones who don't know, that's Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections. They need to take the rehabilitation out, just call it corrections. You know what I'm saying?
And they still ain't correcting nothing.
Ain't correcting nothing. Just the different parties, people that we need to meet with and do the presentation. Because one thing I believe is that it's a win-win situation for everybody involved. Not only are we helping the people that we will be serving, but we can make Dayton an economic hub if we're doing this right. That's why I brought these people. I want to bring these people to the table, because if we're producing screenwriters, production, people to do production for films, we can make make this a small in the Midwest studio. Bring the film industry here, and so that's how we meshed. And we're ready. We're ready to do whatever it takes.
Now, Ms. Copeland, when you started making your docuseries, and how hard is it to say, step out of yourself when you're interviewing individuals and you're following individuals as similar stories?
So yeah, that was a confusion for me earlier when you said docuseries. So I have not started shooting I have not shot a docuseries yet. I am in the pre-production of one.
Okay.
The films that I have already shot are all narrative. I've not done a documentary yet, as of yet. Okay. That's in the works right now. But so yeah, they're all narrative, comedy, thriller, faith-based, but all narrative.
Now, even with that, who helped you with your screenwriting?
So yeah, the writers. So I'm not a writer at all. So it wasn't helping me. It was they write it and I produce it.
So who are some of your writers? Some of the writers, right?
Well, yeah, they're not so the writer of Sinners Wanted was Jimmy and Josh Jenkins. They're brothers that live in DC, and they're actually the sons of my pastor of my home church. They're in DC. If anybody, you're in DMV, shout out to the First Baptist of Glenarden, the best church in the whole world. And his two talented sons wrote that script. I helped produce it. We on the team, and they directed it. And so that was that one. And Flint Tale was written by Mark Casey, who is a Detroit native. So Flint Tale was near and dear to him, being from Detroit, and Detroit and Flint being so close. So he is the writer and director of that. I produced it. He's also the writer and director of #BlackSkin, which I produced, the story of Philando Castile. And he is big on a lot of, which you may guess from just those two titles, telling our factual stories, but in a narrative. Mm-hmm. And so the way our story is done in terms of black skin and the murder of Philando Castile. It's like we interviewed his girlfriend, who and for those of you that aren't familiar or may not remember, because those couple of years we had a lot of names. We had a lot of names. We had
A lot of them.
back names, like the one that so Philando was riding in the car in Minneapolis or St. Paul, that area, with his fiance and the 5-year-old daughter in the back seat. And she was on Facebook Live, and he told them he had a registered gun in the glove compartment, and he was going for the license, and they shot him right there in cold blood in front of her, and she was on Facebook Live. That's that story. He had a cousin, so it was from her perspective, and he has a cousin who ended up getting arrested in the riot after his murder, Philando's murder, and he sued the city and got an award and opened up an amazing vegan restaurant in the city, and when George Floyd was murdered, he was on the front line providing food for the crowds, and so it was from his perspective and a day in the life. So as told by his fiance who was in the car. So we followed Philando a day, well, really a couple of days prior up to and then through the murder. But it's told in narrative story form.
So when you see stories like that, how do you step out of the emotional part or for yourself to honestly sit and produce and direct a narrative like that?
Well, I don't think we step out of it. I'll tell you that experience. Um, something about emotion can drive you. So, though it was a very emotional shoot, especially there in Minneapolis, we went down to the Cub food site and we filmed there where George was murdered, which that time, and there's still a memorial there, but it was fresh. And, the emotions run very high. And we all experienced, our actors, our crew, everyone, we all had moments. It was very emotional shoot. We were feeling everything, but we felt it, we processed it, and we made our movie. So
Now,
we were fueled by it.
now, how can an individual get in touch with you to collaborate on movies and series or anything like that?
So I put how do I write in YouTube? So I put my website there, but I also meant to put my email. So I'm going to put my email now.
Okay. It's recoverymedia.org.
Yep, that's the website.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see if I can go ahead and copy this in here.
Yeah, and there's my email and phone number. And I'll put my Instagram. And for the person who mentioned wanting to volunteer with domestic violence, I will say that that's an area, as you know, certainly it's very, the confidentiality and the safety aspects. So when we shoot with that population, it's not going to be in their place. And there may be some guidelines surrounding, depending on what their situation is, we don't know yet, surrounding who can and can't be there or what can and can't happen because of safety. But you're absolutely welcome in any ways that you can participate. We'd love to have you.
Now, do individuals have when you're working with the population? I know that they do background check for us because of the domestic violence and to want to
No,
see
only for the youth.
only for the youth?
Yeah, for my populations, we have only had to get background checks for the we're so that which leads me to I think this was one thing I was supposed to address. Right, currently we are operating in an after-school care program for what they call at-risk youth in Chicago, high school students in Chicago, where we piloted the program this summer, and a treatment center, a drug treatment center in Baltimore City for 18 to 34-year-olds.
That's amazing.
So the only one we need a background check for is the high school student, because that's under school, public school city law.
Yeah. Now, I hate to, you know what I'm saying, we're coming into the end, and I want to make sure that everybody hears the information and understand that I can facilitate to get y'all the information that y'all need to work with these two people right here. Uh, with definitely those who want to get your story heard with Miss Carol Copeland. Definitely can reach out to her and pass that information on to her. To reach out for those who are felons who are looking to acclimate yourself back into society and work and get your trade and things of that nature. I can help you with my cousin, Greg West. He already has this website out there, which is felonswithafuture.org. And anything that we can do over here with Real to Real 360, it's a no brainer because the door is always open. Um, so, is there anything that you want us, the our audience, to know more about Recovery Media, Miss Copeland?
Um, well, just to summarize, that we are again newly starting out, but we hope to change the world through bringing. Let me give you the short version, because once we create a film, the participants have an opportunity to they participate in everything, that the decision of the story that's going to be told when we write the script with professional mentors, professional working in the industry mentor writers, say that, and then we shoot the script with professional working in the industry mentors side by side, and then edit it. And upon completion, we do a community screening in their community. So they get some red carpet and all. They invite their people out and people screen in the lights and on the big screen this film that they made. So that whole thing is, it's pretty amazing. And I know it is. It's a wonderful experience for me. But then they leaving that with entry level marketable skills in television and filmmaking. They will learn all the careers. Well, they won't learn all of them, but they'll pick the ones they want to learn. And that's
Right.
and they will be working side by side with a professional in that industry who's going to train them. And then they have a mentor who's a professional working in the industry, working professional. That in this industry, well, in everything is who you know. But in our particular industry, TV and film, it's especially good to know somebody that's already working in there when you want to get a job.
Hey, now, Greg, you have a question. Someone wants to know who do they talk to about the strenuous circumstances in which to rent property on the west side of Dayton.
Well, that's quite, my contact. Hit me on tell for the viewer. Hit me on my email and let's set up a time to talk, because that's a good question, and there's a lot of stuff that that we can work on that together. Because like one of the things that we're talking about doing is creating a housing co-op for us in our community, so that we own our property, so that we don't have to keep going through all of the strenuous circumstances where they're starting to gentrify us, where the property taxes are going up and we can't afford to stay. Miss Johnson, who's been in the community for 60 years, who's on a fixed income, can no longer keep her property because they've priced the property taxes so high. So please get with me. That's one of the passions that we do. Like I say, Felons with a Future, we're really involved in the community more than just, the business thing and everything like that. For those who know me in Dayton, know that I ran for public office. So those are some of the things that we're dealing with, and that's good that you hear that you can too come home and get involved. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Because we about to get up out of here. Got another show on the back end coming up, but I want y'all to stick around for about 2 minutes so we can chop this up.
Okay, real quick before we go, remember that both of these are nonprofit organizations. So any help that we can get, you know what I'm saying, go on our websites, help out, even if it's just, sweat equity, get the names out there so that we can get these things going, because we need to get the help, all the help we can to help our community.
Definitely that.
Yes, all help is appreciated.
Definitely. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Real to Real 360, and see you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we starting to come to the end of the show. Right now, I want to take the time out and thank our guests for coming on. Also, too, we want to make sure that y'all listening and subscribing, and tell a friend and keep sharing, because we're going to keep bringing y'all the real content. You know what I mean? So, DJ K-Wise, my brother, take us up out of here, son.
True peace. I want to give a big shout out to the nation of gods and earths, and to all the human families on the planet Earth. I say peace. But to our subscribers, those who continue to watch and listen to the show each and every time we come on, I give a big shout out of love, peace, and happiness to you.